Welcome to UWM Urban Spelunking, a project exploring historic buildings on the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee's campus. My name is Cael Byrne, and I'll be your host. This is Cunningham Hall. On the corner of Hartford and Kramer, it houses the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee's School of Nursing. While it may seem rather unassuming on the outside, it actually has a very interesting history. To find out more about the building, we talked to Laurie Glass, who has been with UWM since 1975, just 2 years after Cunningham Hall was built.
My name is Laurie Glass, and I'm Professor Emerita in the School of Nursing, and I am the director of the Center for Nursing History in the School of Nursing, and manage the museums, the 3 gallery rooms that we have here on the ground floor. I've been here since 1975, and I got my PhD in nursing history and nursing research from the University of Illinois, Chicago. The reason this building was built was because nursing was located in like 7 different spots. So there was a great need for one building to bring people together. So the dean at the time, Inez Hinsvark, designed the building and worked to get the money through the state. And at the time, there was federal funding for healthcare buildings. And so this building was funded with a multi-million-dollar grant from the federal government. And that meant that it could only be used for nursing. So they started the construction on the building in February of 1971. And it was completed and they moved in September of 73. When it opened in 73, there was a big computer in the basement. And in the 3rd floor, where the students had their learning lab and stuff, there were little consoles. And the instructors could give tests on the consoles, and there was an ABCD box. And the students logged in, and their test results popped out in the basement of the mainframe computer. And that's one of my storerooms now. Nobody really wanted it when it became available, and I'm like, I'll take it, And over here, when I first came in, and in the 70s, the parking lot here was just a narrow. It was straight out that way, and it was only 2 rows. Cars and cars, and it held maybe 10 or 12 cars. That was a parking lot. And then over time, that was probably, in the 80s, late 80s maybe, the university bought the houses that were on Kramer and tore them down. And then that's what the parking lot is now, is on all of that land.
Before Cunningham Hall was built next to Ainley Hall, there were just tennis courts in its place. Then, in February of 1971, they began building Cunningham Hall. The building was finished in September of 1973. In these pictures, you can see the original small parking lot and the houses that used to be on Kramer. When Cunningham Hall was built, UWM already owned all the houses on Kramer. They had acquired them in the same purchase as Ainley Hall for $2.3 million in 1965. Later on in the 80s, these houses on Kramer were demolished to expand Cunningham Hall's parking lot to its current size.
So the building is 7 stories, and 3 of them are underground. In fact, the other end of this building is underground. So that if you come in on the soccer field, from the soccer field you come in on the 1st floor. If you come in on Hartford, you come in on the ground floor. So the B level is essentially custodian, loading dock. I have 2 storage rooms down there. In B100, photography just moved back in. They were gone for years, but it used to be B100 was the all of UWM's multimedia. So all the guys, the photography, the guys that did all kinds of media coverage, it was very handy because I knew them all, and it was media communications department, I think. So when we needed to take our videotapes and have them made to DVDs, I just walked around the corner and talked to the guys. We used it in making videotapes, and anybody that had on campus that had, like a media project where they needed filming and stuff, it was done in the TV studio. It was pretty busy. There was people in and out a lot.
Then Laurie took us down to the TV studio, where Troy Fox gave us a tour. Troy Fox is a photographer for UWM's Marketing, Communications, and University Relations Division.
We moved in here about 7 months ago. Video and studio did it on a full-time basis. We moved from our studio in Sabin Hall to here, where we moved all our photography equipment and video all came down here. We got a notification, I believe it was on January 23rd of 2024, that this space had flooded. And electrical wiring in the ceiling got wet, the walls got wet, water on the floor. I came down here as they were cleaning it up days later. So first floor, ground level, pipe broke from one of the sprinkler systems, I believe is what it was. And it came running down through the walls and all through the electrical system. So all that had to be redone, which is one of the reasons that we have all these cables hanging from the ceiling in here, so we don't have cables running across the floor tripping people. We can pull things down and plug things in where we want to, which was a really nice feat. We had it repainted. It was, lack of a better term, dingy white down here. And then when it got wet, it just became streaky and not real attractive looking. So we got to paint it to what is like a 19% gray approximately. The ceiling has the original track system for the velvet background, so it had velvet drapes on it, kind of like this material that doesn't let light through very easily. The other things that we do down here for video, we have a green screen, so we can shoot students, professors, and we can drop them into any background we want in post-production. We also do just regular interviews on black screen and anything else they want. They do over there, now if you want to follow me or reset it, they have microphones over here where they do audio tracks. So if a student has to do an interview where they just need their voice and it's not going to match the video, they have them come down here and read the scripts, or they do their interviews right here. The room is pretty much a soundproof room. The windows and everything, as you imagine a television studio would be. Headshots we do down here, marketing pieces that things are going to be cut out or knocked out. There are photos that are on white backgrounds, gray backgrounds, black backgrounds are all part of this system here. We use strobe lights for that, so we freeze the action and stuff like that. Real nice space since it got redone. We had all new ceiling lights put in here. If you turn over to here, you'll see the 4 lights that we left back, more for historical purposes, actually 5 lights. None of them currently are plugged in or working, but this ceiling grid that's above you was full of it. So one of the cool little things is we had lots of these little things here that we could hook this pipe up to. Nice and scratchy. Get it on there. Come on. Or not. There we go. And that way you can change a light bulb if you need to. So back in the day, this was the old television stands for the cameras you'd see like on news crews and stuff. So this is how you steer it, push it, moves around real nice and smooth. Pan the camera around and stuff. Now it does go up and down, but it has to be hooked up to power, and we're not going to do that today. So in the front, they could place the paperwork for the people that were on the TV station to read through the cameras. So basically the camera shot through here, but whatever notes they had were on here and reflected up so they could see them on the screen, which is why the black cloth is here to make sure that there was no light leaking through.
It was really interesting to see how UWM makes all of its multimedia marketing, but but I couldn't help but wonder if there were any remnants of the old TV studio from the 70s. In one of the storage rooms next to the studio, they had shelves upon shelves stocked with film from the old studio. In the next room, they had all of the equipment from the old TV studio. This is the old console from the control room, where they would watch the live feeds from each camera. There's various Panasonic and Sony equipment for recording footage to VHS tapes and DVDs. Here you can see a Leader brand vectorscope and a Tektronix waveform monitor.
One thing about the media department when it was on B100 is that we would get some stuff in that, some media, and it would be way before what we had now. And they had Fibber McGee's closet, they called it. And they had this closet, and in that closet, they had one of every kind of machine that ever was. And they could go in that closet and say, oh yeah, there's that machine right there. And they pull the machine out, and you could look at your media, because they had one of every machine. So somebody was on their toes, and saved one of every machine so that you could continue to look at media that maybe was made 30 years ago.
On that shelf, you may think those are vinyl records, but they're actually laserdiscs, which were essentially DVDs the size of a record. I've never seen that many in one place. In one of the other storage rooms, they also had a collection of TV guides and magazines, organized by each decade. It was mostly magazines about soap operas. These two pictures are actually from the original TV studio in the 70s. Laurie also used the TV studio to make instructional videos for the nursing department. She even made one about politics.
Everyday Politics for Nurses was the title of it. And we used to go out to the various hospitals and film. In that one, there's a couple of scenes in regards to the kinds of situations nurses come up with in hospitals that really are political, even though you might not think it. And an interesting point about this building that I didn't mention that's very unique is behind these panels is one-way glass. And behind the panels in the other gallery room is one-way glass. They both look into the room right here on the end, which is now labeled the computer lab. But originally in this building, that was a play lab. It was full of climbing equipment and toys and cribs. And if you go in the computer lab back to the bathrooms, you'll see the signs on the door are little kitty signs, pictures of boys and girls. And I did actually go and check because it was child-sized potties, but they've replaced them with bigger ones. But what would happen is all the growth and development classes for the university were taught here in the school. And parents would come with their kids, and the kids would play in the lab. This was a conference room. Those were small offices. And the nursing students or the other UWM students would be in here with the parents, and they'd be watching the kids through the class. And they could then tell the parents, oh yeah, you can tell he's 2 because he's doing this. And as he gets closer to 3, he's going to do this kind of stuff. So we call that anticipatory guidance and stuff. But they could describe growth and development and work with the parents in regards to it. There was 2 or 3 growth and development courses, 3 credits each, and nursing taught them for the entire university. So some of the early childhood educators would have to take them. and stuff. But as part of that course, they would use the play lab. And then also one of the early nursing centers, when they would do programming for like parents or moms, they would do it in the room that's over there, would be like the classroom. And then they would have students as babysitters in here with the kids. There might be 15 kids in there. The first floor is the student floor, with the student lounge, all the advisors, classrooms and stuff. And then second floor was originally the research center. And the third floor was the skills lab. Sometimes the students acted as patients for each other. And then also they had rubber arms, and you started IVs on the rubber arms with a red color solution. So it was hands-on kind of stuff. You could put in catheters, you could do all kinds of stuff on the dummies that were, at that point, body parts, like arms, or like, heads. 4, 5, and 6 were faculty offices. And when I came here, there was over 100 faculty. And now, because they use a different mix of clinical teaching staff and other staff members and faculty and stuff, it's different. But there's still over 100 and some people in this building. 7 is the administrative floor. The dean's office is up there. The head of school is up there. Frances Cunningham was the first director of the School of Nursing. And the school was created in 1965. And from 1966, I think it was, for a few years, there was a director of the school. That was Frances Cunningham. She may have even come like in 1964 before it was really a school. But she was the first director. And then Ines Hinsvard was the first dean and stuff. But Frances Cunningham was nationally known. She was recruited from Case Western University in Ohio and stuff to come and be the first director of the school. So the building is named for her.
Thank you for watching UWM Urban Spelunking. In the next episode, Laurie will give us a tour of the Center for Nursing History, which is an actual nursing history museum on UWM's campus.
You're going to be difficult, aren't you? They're a little old, so we don't use them anymore, but well, they're up there. They're for display now more than anything else. So in the real world, we're going to retape that.